Legend has it that the Call of Duty cycle goes as follows. Stage 1, Hope. The new Call of Duty is revealed and it looks fantastic. The developers seem to have learned from mistakes of past games, and this year they are committed to making the best Call of Duty ever. The graphics look amazing, there's new mechanics, new modes, all new weapons and maps, and of course, a healthy dose of nostalgia sprinkled in as well. There's a lot of positive buzz in the community and seemingly a lot of goodwill from the developers. And then we have Stage 2, Honeymoon. The new game finally releases and players are loving it. I mean, how could you not when it's so new and shiny? New maps to experience, new weapons to level up, and without any well-defined meta just yet, people are just having fun experimenting with all the new gameplay elements. This is a peaceful time to be a COD player, but it won't last long because soon comes Stage 3, Reality. The game's flaws and limitations start to become more apparent, and the novelties of all the new stuff start to wear off. Bugs and balancing issues become a major topic of discussion within the community. You've experienced all the new content that the game has to offer, and the next content drop seems so far away. This is what brings us to the final stage of the Call of Duty cycle, nostalgia. At this point, players retreat to what they know. This is when people start saying all of the COD cycle's greatest hits, like, the last COD was better, or the classic, this COD is the worst one ever. By now, most of the discourse surrounding the game is very negative. And at the same time, people start to soften up on previous Call of Duties, even the ones that were viciously torn apart in their time. As of making this video, this is the stage that we're currently in for Modern Warfare 2. The game had its hype, it had its honeymoon, and we've landed in a place now where it seems like most people aren't happy with the game. Even me, and that's really saying something because usually, regardless of how many people hate the current Call of Duty, I continue to happily play it. But Modern Warfare 2 has lost my interest in a way that no Call of Duty ever has before. And if you want to know more about my issues with Modern Warfare 2, I'll link a different video that I did about it below. But I'm not going to get too much into that here because this video isn't about the past. It's about looking forward. The thing about the Call of Duty cycle is that it never ends. And since we're currently in Stage 4, that means we're on the brink, yet again, of Stage 1, Hope. I wanted to go over the Call of Duty cycle to make it very clear that I am aware that I'm playing into the stereotype here. But I'm not out here to lie to anyone, I'm just trying to be real. I would never go through the effort to write, record, and edit a video if my heart wasn't in it. So with that being said, I will shamefully admit that I'm making this video because I'm actually very hopeful for the next year of Call of Duty. And I wanted to tell you why. Since you don't see a lot of hopeful videos about Call of Duty these days, I figured this might be a good change of pace for us all. Also, I think you'll be surprised about just how strong my case here actually is. So let's start with some basic details about the next Call of Duty. Call of Duty 2023 is going to be Modern Warfare 3, a direct sequel to 2022's Modern Warfare 2. This marks the first time in Call of Duty history that we've gotten a game from the same sub-franchise in 2 consecutive years. More on that in a second. Although Modern Warfare 2 was developed by Infinity Ward, Modern Warfare 3 will be developed by Sledgehammer. And I could honestly just end the video there, because that alone is enough reason to be excited. Infinity Ward, for some reason, has become the fun police. I'm telling you, the only purpose they serve in the larger Call of Duty machine is to make a game once every 3 years that is so boring that it makes the other 2 games look much better by comparison. That is the only possible explanation I can think of as to why they are so hellbent on making such bland Call of Duty games. I know that's probably a little harsh, but as you're gonna see, one of the main reasons why I think Modern Warfare 3 could be so great is because it's a Modern Warfare game free of the stubbornness of Infinity Ward, so that's got me feeling optimistic. Now there is kind of a big asterisk to all this, so let's get that out of the way now. Modern Warfare 3 was reportedly, originally, going to be just a big expansion to Modern Warfare 2. The expansion was going to cost some money, but it wouldn't be full box price. Instead of being its own thing entirely, it was just going to be essentially a fresh new chapter for Modern Warfare 2. I'm also guessing at that point they weren't even planning on calling it Modern Warfare 3. But somewhere along the line, for whatever reason, they decided that instead of it being just an expansion, it would be better off as its own full experience. Just like we're accustomed to seeing every year for Call of Duty. This raises some eyebrows, because if the game was originally planned to only be an expansion, then how big could it actually be? Will it have enough new stuff to justify charging players another $70? This question gets even more complicated, because for the first time ever, we're actually going to see content carry over from Modern Warfare 2 into Modern Warfare 3. We don't know the exact details of how it'll work, but things like operator skins and weapon blueprints from Modern Warfare 2 are set to carry over into the new game. And if weapon skins are carrying over, it stands to reason that the weapons themselves will too. And if the weapons are carrying over, then it's likely that maps and modes might as well. All of this would make sense considering that at one point the game was just an expansion for Modern Warfare 2. So this is uncharted territory for Call of Duty multiplayer. On one hand, this is amazing, because if you're like me and couldn't help but buy the Izzy operator pack for $20, then you'll still be able to use that next year. Thank God, because I can't see myself playing Call of Duty without her. And same goes for all the camos that you were grinding for all year. For the first time ever, you'll be able to use the Mastery camo you got from the game last year in the current game. Also, since Call of Duty games tend to launch with not a ton of playable content, it's nice to know that Modern Warfare 3 will have some weapons and maps from Modern Warfare 2 to help pad out the launch experience. Modern Warfare 3 will probably have more content at launch than any other live service Call of Duty has ever had. But on the other hand, this reinforces the idea that what Sledgehammer has been working on for Modern Warfare 3 is not big enough to constitute its own game, and therefore has to rely on content from Modern Warfare 2. And it's also possible that the existence of weapons and maps from Modern Warfare 2 will actually hurt the game more than they help, as it might just make you feel like you're still playing MW2 as opposed to something brand new. So as you can see, there are pros and cons to this content carryover, but personally, I think if they handle it right, it could be one of the smartest choices Activision has ever made. I feel like for the past 5 years, we've seen this cycle where by the end of the current Call of Duty's life, it's packed with content and is in a pretty good state. But when the new Call of Duty releases to take its place, it only has half the content that the old one did. So the developers spend the rest of the year getting the new game back to that complete state that the old one was already in, only for the cycle to repeat itself once again when a new game comes along to replace that one. It seems as if Modern Warfare 3 will be the first live service COD to not have this problem. So it's pretty exciting to think of what Sledgehammer will be able to do with this game, since they won't be playing catch-up all year long. So content carryover is groundbreaking for the future of Call of Duty, but it's not what's most important to me. It's a big reason why I'm hopeful, but to be honest, Modern Warfare 3 could have 100 maps, and I still wouldn't like it if the gameplay was as bad as Modern Warfare 2's. So let's address that. For Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward created a very grounded experience. It's slow, realistic, and gritty, cat skins aside. Things like bunny hopping and slide canceling have been removed. Strafing speeds have been slowed down. Most of the maps are big and dense, closer to something that you'd actually see in the real world, and further away from something that was designed specifically for a video game. Modern Warfare 2 is a slow burn, and while some people enjoy it, it's been controversial to say the least. But if there's one thing that Infinity Ward is gonna do, it's not back down on their design choices, no matter what the feedback is. For example, making it so that you need a UAV up in the air if you want to see red dots on your minimap, which seems like a small thing, but actually has a pretty big effect on the game's pacing. Widely hated, but was never changed. Also, not including Dead Silence as a perk, which was one of the biggest complaints from their last game. Dead Silence, traditionally in a Call of Duty game, allows you to move around more quietly. Without it, in Modern Warfare 2 especially, it's almost impossible to play the game aggressively, and you have no choice but to play more on the defensive. Also, reload canceling, which again is a small thing, but Modern Warfare 2 is the first Call of Duty to ever not have it, and it's just one of the many changes that they made that absolutely crushes the skill gap. Now, I know that some people have been enjoying this, and that's okay, you're allowed to like whatever you want, but it's very clear that this style of gameplay has not resonated with a big chunk of the player base, namely people who enjoy the fast-paced gameplay from the Black Ops games, or even the people who enjoyed the insane broken movement from Modern Warfare 2019. 2019. Infinity Ward's new design philosophy is holding Call of Duty back, and I would be worried that this was going to carry over into Modern Warfare 3, but luckily this time it's not up to them, since Sledgehammer is taking the reins. As a quick refresher, Sledgehammer's most recent title is Call of Duty Vanguard, and I know most people clowned on that game all year long, but I happen to enjoy it. If you want more on that, I'll link my Vanguard codology video in the description. But regardless of how you feel about Vanguard, you have to respect Sledgehammer for their willingness to change their games based on community feedback. Like what we saw with the perk system overhaul back in COD World War II, or with the return of the Dead Silence perk that we saw in Vanguard. They also don't mind adding more wacky elements into their game, which I know is kinda controversial, but I like. Overall, they just take themselves way less seriously than a studio like Infinity Ward does. Remember how I told you my theory about how Infinity Ward is only there to make a bad Call of Duty once every 3 years to make the other ones look better by comparison? Well, I think they've perfectly teed up Sledgehammer for an easy home run in 2023. All Sledgehammer has to do is restore a handful of traditional Call of Duty elements, and I think the crowd will go wild. And knowing Sledgehammer, who like I said has a track record of making changes based on community feedback, I think this is what they'll do. Just imagine a Modern Warfare game with fast movement and high skill techniques to master, playing on maps that don't make you feel like you're playing hide and seek, with classic COD elements like a traditional minimap which shows you where all the action is, a Dead Silence perk so that you can move around the map more freely, reload canceling to get you back into the action faster. I could go on. I think with Modern Warfare 3, Sledgehammer will swing the pendulum back in favor of traditional Call of Duty gameplay, and I have a feeling it'll be just what the doctor ordered. So let's wrap this video up all nice with a bow and everything. I know that the Call of Duty cycle is real, and that I might just be drinking the Kool-Aid when I say that I have hope for Call of Duty. But 2023 is different. For the first time ever, we'll have content carry over. Cosmetics that we worked for or even bought will persist in-game. And instead of a bare-bones launch with not a lot to do, some playable content from last year will carry over as well. With Infinity Ward taking a back seat this year, we won't have to worry about our fun being policed. Sledgehammer will easily be able to take the solid foundation that Infinity Ward created and restore speed, technique, and excitement to the gameplay loop. And that's why I have hope for the future of Call of Duty. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna link my socials in the description if you want to stay up to date with the channel or just let me know what you thought about this video. Thanks again, and stay gold.